Good afternoon. We'll start the lecture. I'll share my screen. Just tell me whether it is visible or not, and then we can start soon. Okay, Jill, I can see that you have logged in from two devices. Art is proper. So today we'll be discussing two things: different equity financing models and different debt financing models when we are talking about media industry. Before starting with the lecture, I want over here, since everybody has joined just now, I believe all of you are attentive and will reply to this. What does equity financing? Because we had already discussed crowd equity financing. I want you to tell me your version of what you understand by the term equity financing before I discuss it. Write it in the chat box. In a single line, it would suffice. But what, according to you, is equity financing? I'll be checking the chat box, so please be attentive and write. Ashish has replied, raising capital for business by selling ownership. Okay, perfect. Again, equity is ownership. Yes. Darsh has replied. Okay, good. So yes, equity as the word means ownership. Now, ownership for raising finance, the investors, when in return of giving you funds, are demanding for the share of ownership in your media creation. It is known as equity financing. It involves contributing capital in exchange of ownership rights. In exchange of ownership rights, it can also be profit participation, because once you become the owner, every right which owner has will be given to you. Of course, the terms and conditions on what right are supposed to be shared, what will not be shared, depends on the contract or the agreement between the producer and the one investing the funds. Clear? So if I want to define it, I'll say that equity financing involves investors contributing capital in exchange for ownership rights, profit participation, and intellectual property rights. In India, in Indian media, equity is dominant financing mode due to its characteristics. Because of the certain characteristics, it has become a very dominant or most prominent, if I'll say, marketing media financing technique. Why is that it is said okay, it is prominent as such? So the reason for that is, first, it is a high revenue uncertainty. What is high revenue uncertainty? So the revenue generated from the box office, from the success, agar aap, if you're talking about particular games which you have made, so the views they are getting, the downloads it is getting, will be source of revenue for the investors. Now this revenue is what's very uncertain. This revenue is uncertain, and that's the reason it has high uncertainty. If the uncertainty is high, the risk involved in the investment also becomes high. The investors are taking risk by giving you capital. Just give me a minute, somebody is in the lobby waiting room. Okay, done. Next, limited collateral. Intangible creative assets provide insufficient security for traditional debt financing. See, when I'm talking about collateral or owning rights, when I'm talking about equity finance, आपको return में you demand many things. Some of them are intangible creative assets. What are intangible creative assets? Like your trademark, your patent, your copyrights. ये सब जो चीजें होती है वो किसका पार्ट बनते हैं? तो intangible trading rights. Is Kavish added in the meeting? Because I'm continuously trying, but okay, leave it. We'll see later on whether he's added or not. Creative control imperative. Filmmakers prioritize artistic autonomy over rigid repayment schedules. The film producers or the creators will focus on artistic skills rather than repayment of the equity. Primary equity sources. Now, when I list down these sources, all of them are previously discussed by us in every different sessions. That like production houses providing fund, film studios providing fund, HNIs, that is high net worth individuals, corporate groups, that is NBFCs. Now, what are NBFCs? Non-banking financial companies might be. Then OTT platforms. These are certain ways or institutions through which you can gain equity finance. The equity model aligns investors' return with project success. The success of the project and the return which the investors will be generating are aligned with each other. The amount of return they want to generate depends on the success of the project they are investing in. So that's the reason the major focus is on the project success. Creating shared incentives for quality and commercial performance. See, incentives is like agar monetary incentives hai, to I'm talking about payment. But if it is not monetary, it can also be incentives in kinds and motivation, where we are trying to align two components. Which are those two components? Quality of the content which I'm talking about. What quality of content? What is the aim or the purpose of the content? Is it for a certain message or social message, or is it for random entertainment? So the quality and also the commercial performance, because the commercial performance will decide the return a particular product is generating, a particular project will be generating. So aligning both of them, the purpose and the commercial performance is very important when we are talking about equity financing. Also, while we are doing these two things, creative ventures, the inherent creative activities or the artistic skills are also important, that the creator is able to generate or present the idea without any restrictions from the investors who are investing in the project. The next is different ownership models or equity ownership models on how people or on how producers generate funds from different sources. So these models are something which the meaning of those at least were discussed previously. The first one is studio owned model. Now what is studio owned model? When the ownership is right has been shared with the studios. Now film studios specifically, if I'm talking about that, so Yashraj Films, Dharma Production, T Series, these are some studios who fully finance the project under them. मतलब any producer or creator working under those film studios are financed by them. Any music song or album produced under T Series will be financed by T Series as a production house. Now, once they are financing, they will want returns. The capital which they have provided, they'll be wanting returns in terms of ownership, returns in some terms of profit participation, also in distribution channel. So if I want to conclude, स्टूडियो फाइनेंस प्रोजेक्ट्स फुल्ली रिटेन आईपी राइट्स, जितने भी आपके इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स होते हैं वो स्टूडियोज रिटेन करेंगे, वो चेक करेंगे. एनी सॉन्ग प्रोड्यूस्ड अंडर टी सीरीज फिल्म स्टूडियोज विल बी द टी सीरीज विल बी अर्निंग ऑल इट्स राइट. कल को वो अगर किसी और चैनल के साथ शेयर भी करते हैं तो जो कॉपीराइट या पेटेंट या रॉयल्टी पे होगा वो उनको मिलेगा. किसको? तो टी सीरीज. तो इट विल बी अ रेवेन्यू जनरेशन मैकेनिज्म फॉर देम. And of course, when they are gaining returns, it will bear the complete financial risk. जितने भी financial risk है. Now, what kind of financial risk may exist? Failure. So what if it is not a hit? What if the revenue generation which they had thought of is not fulfilled? उतने अमाउंट का रेवेन्यू जनरेशन नहीं हुआ तो क्या? So this may be one of the risk which the equity partner will be taking. So because they are bearing the risk, they will get high returns. Talent receives fixed plus performance bonuses. मतलब the actors or the co-actors who are part of this or the people working in the project will receive a fixed amount of fees. Other than that, performance bonuses. Now, what are performance bonuses? It may depend on the amount of profit a particular project is making. Depending on that, the certain percentage may be allotted to the actors or actress apart from the fixed fees which they are charging for working in a particular project. It may be a certain ad, so the ad writes that these ads will be run only on these channels or on these time slots. ये सारी जो rights होंगी वो film studios क्या कर सकते हैं? When they are investing capital, they can demand for these rights. Clear? The next is independent producer investor model. Now, what is this? The producers of the media projects, they might do not want to work with certain production house as such or share the ownership rights or creative rights with them. So what they do is they raise equity from multiple private investors. From multiple private investors they raise fund. एक अगर suppose if a certain individual is not able to provide you the overall funds at once, वो क्या करेंगे? multiple investors के पास जाएंगे और पैसे लेंगे and then they will share the ownership rights among themselves. Also, the profit will be shared. Now, the profit sharing may be terms on the basis of how much amount is being given by each partner. The proportion of the ratio of the profit shared can be similar, can be, I'm not telling it should be, it can be similar to the amount which has been invested by them. Also, the recoupment. Now, what is recoupment? I'll tell you. Repayment. Understand this, the repayment in what proportion, in what order, who will be paid first, who are on the priority basis, ये सब चीजें आपको क्या करनी पड़ेंगी, आपको अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में इंश्योर करनी पड़ेंगी. Now, who will be the what kind of producers will be involved in these kind of private investment thing? मतलब instead of going for getting a high amount of fund from studios or production houses, they'll go for all private individuals or equity. So you basically small regional films where the budget is low and people can raise funds via these private equity sources. वो आपको क्या करेंगे, तो ये मेथड को ऑप्ट करेंगी जहाँ पे आपको क्रिएटिव हिंडरेंसेस कम होंगे. मतलब योर क्रिएटिव आर्टिस्टिक स्किल्स विल बी नॉट हिंडर्ड बाय दोस प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टर्स. दे विल जस्ट बी इंटरेस्टेड इन द प्रॉफिट और द रिटर्न विच दे अर्न आफ्टर द इन्वेस्टमेंट. Clear? Are you understanding what is independent in investor model? So over here, when I say angel investors, now who are angel investors? I had told you previously, the HNIs who may be ready to invest. Those kind of investors usually with a small budget film common in Hindi or the Telugu cinema or Kannada, where the films are made, Punjabi cinema, so where the films are made with a very small budget. In that case, we can depend on these investor producer model. The next is OTT platform equity participation. Now, we all know what a OTT platform is. So on those OTT platforms, even they may be ready to provide finance. Specifically, if the series or the media creation is aired only on that channel. Jesse, there are many original series, that is original G5 series, original Netflix series like Sacred Games. These series are majorly financed by these OTT platforms. Clear? Now, these OTT platforms may act as a financiers, distributors, and risk underwriters. They take an whole and soul of responsibility of absorbing risk of the distribution, because any such series that, just like I gave an example of Sacred Games or a series like Patal Lok which is aired on Z5, ये सारी जो सीरीज होती है वो स्पेसिफिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन राइट्स के साथ आती है. एंड to gain all these rights, the OTT platform provides finance for production, for casting, for going through script, for studios working, etc. and etc. So they have exclusive rights over these work. Transform certain box office revenue into predictable cash flows. Now, what is important is that when we talk about box office cash flow, that is the when films are run in theaters, वहां पे जो return होगा वो uncertain होता है. Of course, the return in OTT is the same, but then the time for which it will be run on a particular theater and for which how much long it will be on OTT is very different. In a theater, it may go max to a month or 2 months, but if it is released on an OTT platform, it will be there throughout. So the difference between the uncertainty of profit revenue, it can even be a slow process, but it will generate revenue for the platform. So these are three models: studio ownership owned models, independent private investors model, and the OTT platform models. Understand this, when I'm talking about equity ownership models in media financing, this ownership is not only in terms of returns in monetary value. Of course, they are interested in monetary returns, but other than that, they are also interested in other intangible rights like your IP rights, like rights for running advertisement, promotion, these non-monetary income for them is also very important while they are investing in a particular project. Is it clear, students? We'll be doing only these three models of equity ownership. Now we'll understand what are risk over here. So the risk of investment when we are talking about media projects entirely depends on the performance of the project. If the performance is good, the return will be good, and if the performance is okay, the return will not be up to the forecasted level. So over here the entire risk will depend on the performance of the project. Now there is no guarantee of the repayment of the amount which has been invested. Film अच्छा perform करेगी तो of course the investor will be getting return. But if the film is performing mediocre, the return which they'll earn is also mediocre, increasing their risk. So this is one of the important risk when I'm talking about equity ownership. Is it clear? Class react in certain way so I can move ahead. And if you have any doubt, do ask. Okay. We are done with equity ownership models. I'll close this PPT and share a next one. Okay. Just tell me if the new screen is visible. I've shared a new PPT. So just inform me whether it is visible to you people. Put a thumbs up sign. This is not how it will be working. If I'm telling you people to react, you'll have to. Ishan, is the screen visible? Okay, so we are done with the equity financing models. We'll also discuss the debt financing models today. So, starting with the concept of debt financing, what is debt and how it works, or how are the certain features of these finance provided to the media producers. So debt financing is nothing but borrowing of funds by investors in your media projects. Is it clear? So I viewed the word borrowed. Now, use the term borrowed. It means that it is something which is supposed to be returned. आप own नहीं करते हो. Equity does not require compulsory repayment of everything which was invested. But debt payment is something which we have borrowed from the investors and is supposed to be compulsorily returned to them. So we'll learn certain nature of how debt financing is provided. Then we will go through who provides the debt finance and how things work along. Clear? So starting with one of the nature is fixed repayment obligation. Since debt finance is something which does not provide ownership to the investors, they are expecting full repayment or fixed repayment of whatever they have invested. It is irrespective of whether the project you are working on has performed well or not. ऐसा नहीं है कि अच्छा काम किया तो आप उनको ज्यादा दोगे, कम काम किया तो कम दोगे, or if you want you cannot pay at all depending on the failure of the film. No, irrespective of the performance of the media project, the amount is supposed to be paid to the investors. So this is one of the most important feature. The next is interest component. Whenever I am talking about debt as a financing source for whatever industry, media हो या finance हो या IT में, कभी भी अगर आप अपने particular project के लिए, work के लिए, company के लिए, you are borrowing fund as a source of debt. Along with fixed payment comes another important terms which is interest payment. So what is interest payment? All this capital which will be invested in your business will be charged a certain percentage of interest to be repaid on either yearly basis, quarterly basis, half yearly basis as decided in the contract. Now, this may be usually compounded interest method or simple interest, again depending on the mutual contract between the investor and the producer. However, when I'm talking about these two things, just understand the overall cost of raising debt finance increases due to these two specific conditions in your debt financing: complete repayment and charging of interest. Both of these increases the cost of raising funds via debt. The next is priority in recoupment. Now, again, I'll tell you what is recoupment. Recoupment is nothing but repayment. Recoupment is nothing but repayment. Now, the debt holders, when compared to equity holders, will always get priority in repayment. Because whatever, suppose they invested, your film was of 10 lakh budget, 6 lakh was invested by the equity financer and 4 lakh was invested by a debt financer. Even though the amount of equity is more, but the first priority on which you return the amount is always and always given to that financing. They are prioritized on the payment basis, providing them greater security. The security, because there is a compulsory payment, so the investor is at ease that उनको अपना पैसा वापस मिल जाएगा. So the risk they are sharing is minimum when compared to equity financiers or equity investors. Clear? Now, in India, understand that debt financing is as a supplementary mechanism rather than primary. The primary one or the dominant one is what? Equity financing. The supplementary one is debt financing. The reason for that is again due to two, the inherent volatility of the film revenues. Since it demands fixed repayment and film revenues may not be fixed until and after, only the amount of revenue which is to be generated will only be possible on the film's success, and that is very volatile. So a compulsory repayment as a clause in debt finance makes it less appealing for the producers to go for that source as a source of financing. So these are three important features when I'm talking about debt financing. Now we will learn about different instruments which are used as a part of debt financing in India. The first one is very simple and very easy one. All of you are aware about it. That is the bank loans. Now loans are nothing but that, because all the features which are discussed previously are possible. Whenever you take a loan, you'll have to pay interest, you'll have to pay the principal amount, and the payment is to be done on the priority basis. So since it has all the three features, it is one of the most traditional as well as uh, a first source of debt financing. Now, traditional bank loans for individual firms products remain exceedingly rare in the Indian market. Commercial banks typically extend credit to only well-established corporate studios with proven track records and strong balance sheets. Of course, when I'm talking about bank loans, these bank loans will only be provided after thorough checking or checking the credibility of the producer, of his credibility to return the payment back. वो कितना ज़्यादा capable है to return the loan back in the given time is very important, and the bank always and always will check that and then provide the loan. So इसका मतलब कि ये बैंक लोन्स किसके लिए easy access of source होंगे? For media industries who already have huge success and have a good will, that इनके पास से तो पैसा return आ जाएगा. Only and only then bank will be ready to provide loans of that large amount to a particular media sector. Might it be a film production, might it be a film studio production house, whatever it is. Now, what are the eligibility requirements or how it works when I'm talking about bank loans? So, corporate entity structure with audited finances. Because they are providing you loans, so proper entity structure is supposed to be clear, demonstrated revenue history across multiple projects. They will tell you to present your previously assets or previous revenue from multiple projects that you have, as a creator, you have worked on, to ensure that, or to create a forecasting of how much amount can be recovered and in what time. Collateral assets beyond film specific intellectual properties. Aside of intellectual properties, they might demand for other collateral assets. So now I hope everybody understands what is collateral. जब आप किसी चीज को गिरवी रखते हो against a loan, तो वो क्या होगा वहाँ पे? Collateral assets beyond. Now you cannot say आप मेरी होल्डिंग ये राइट्स रख लो और फिर आप मुझे इतना पैसा. आईपी राइट्स के बियॉन्ड सर्टन असेट्स दे माइट डिमांड फॉर strong relationship between distribution networks. Of course, if they are expecting you to return the money back, they are also checking what are your distribution networks through which you will be earning that return. Simply you are making a working on a particular project and you don't know how will you make it reach to your audience without proper network channel, so it will be a huge failure. So that's the reason they also check. Bank loan as a eligibility requirement also looks into this. The banks, while providing these loans, are very cautious. Now the reason for that is, the first one is unpredictable box office performance, creating high risk. Because the performance is uncertain or unpredictable, the risk is always intensified. Next, difficulty in valuing intangible creative assets. Now, when I'm talking about collateral assets which they keep, so to find out the value of those assets, intangible assets in monetary terms, conversion of that is a bit difficult for the banks. And proper conversion is important to calculate the actual revenue which they might be earning from those intellectual property rights if given as collateral to the banks. Limited legal resources if projects underperform. Of course, the if the project underperforms, the it will be quite a loss for the banks as well, because it will be not possible for them to regain that money back from the producers or the creators. regulatory constraints on entertainment lending. Now, bank loans have regulatory constraints. Now, what kind of regulatory constraints? They cannot provide bank loans for entertainment. If the basic purpose or the major purpose of the creation is just entertainment, so there are certain restrictions which they might face for providing funds to those kinds of media projects. So the bank loans again is one of the oldest and the simplest to understand, where the funds are provided and they expect repayment with a certain part of interest. Is the bank loan clear as a source of debt finance? Okay, great. Moving ahead, NBFCs and private lenders. Now, you will tell that private lenders are more over there. We studied that private lenders may be equity financer. Not always. Private lenders simply means that they are individuals lending money. So, if they are private lenders, or they might even want, if they are not willing to take high risk of uncertainty of payment which is there in equity finance, they may go for debt financing. What is NBFC? So NBFC is nothing but non-banking financial companies. Loans taken by bank are known as bank loans. But what if banks reject or do not feel that it is all the criteria for getting a loan section sanctioned is completed? So you may always go to NBFCs. NBFCs are private companies, which is that's the reason the name comes, non-banking financial companies. They have emerged as an alternative debt source, filling the gap left by the traditional banks. जो चीजें traditional bank fulfill नहीं कर सकती है, उसके जगह पे you may even go to a NBFC to get loan. The only thing is, since they will be taking a high risk, so the repayment which they demand is also higher. Now, since the repayment is high, the interest rate is high, the cost of accessing these kinds of funds also increases. We'll study the feature of how these loans work. So the first one is higher interest rate. NBFC charges significantly elevated interest rates, often 15 to 24% annually, reflecting the higher risk profile of media projects and the lack of traditional collateral. Since they have not demanded any collateral as such, or since they are no, if the bank has rejected and they are providing you the funds, they can demand for a certain higher interest rate. So the interest rate is high over here, increasing the cost of acquiring these kinds of fund. The next is satellite rights as collateral. Sometimes instead of they might demand collateral just like banks to ensure no proper repayment, and if there is any delay in the repayment, they the NBFCs might even use the collateral. So the first thing is satellite rights as collateral. What does that means? Satellite rights, when you know, I'm talking about broadcasting on what? Broadcasting on TV, televisions, and certain network channels. So television broadcast right often serve as a primary security, as these provide more predictable revenue compared to uh, theoretical collections. So satellite rights will only be taken if the NPFC feels that these will provide more predictable revenue when compared to the theaters. जब आपके theater से ज़्यादा they feel that the going for TV is a safer option, so they may ask for satellites rights as a collateral for the loan provided by the NBFCs or the private lenders. Secured against intellectual property. Now the NBFCs or the private lenders can also secure their position by taking charges over the film's IP, including copyright, trademark, and all exploitational rights across the territories. So this can also work as a collateral offered to the NBFC or the private lender, whosoever is providing you debt. They expect two things. Pehla, to they might go ask for higher interest. Second, they might ask for collateral. Some can be satellite collateral, the others can be collaterals of intellectual property rights.
OTT contracts as security. Also, OTT contracts can work as a security between the investors, and that is NBFCs, and the producer. Now, what does OTT contracts as security means? So, pre-signed OTT platforms agreements with committed minimum guarantee offer lenders targets contractual enforceable collateral. Now it means that sometimes what happens is during pre-sales they might have signed pre-signed OTT platform, certain OTT platform for the release of their work. So these pre-signed OTT platform agreements may be used as a collateral in debt financing. Why is this as a source of collateral? Because it means that now if they have pre-signed it, down the line the particular creation will run on this OTT platform and generate revenue in the long term. Okay, so NBFCs and private leaders. Uh, okay, now these are two types of things which we have discussed. The first is bank loan, the second is NBFCs and private lenders. Both of them provide loan to the producer or the creator of the media projects. Now, distribution advances represents a distinctive Indian financing model that blurs the line between traditional debt and pre-sales agreement. Now, what are distribution advances and what is this mechanism of debt financing? So, as clearly stated over here, that it blurs the line between debt and pre-sales agreement. Pre-sales agreement I've already discussed earlier in one of the session, that when you before the release of a particular project or media work, if you have already sold the distribution right to particular individual or company or OTT platform, so or film studios or production houses, that they are known as pre-sale agreements. So over here, it is a combination of something like two, and that's the reason it is known as distribution advances. Okay, give me a minute, I'll continue in a minute. Till that time, you may read the PPT or slide provided. Uh, Continuing ahead, distribution advances. So, what is the nature of these kind of model? A distributor advances capital to the producer in exchange for territorial distribution right. This advance is recoverable from the film's future box office collection within the agreed territory. Now it means that for a particular territory or distribution right, they might provide you certain advances. These distribution channels, suppose a very simple example, a film run all over India, but a certain part of, let's say Gujarat, the distributor from Gujarat made a contract in which he'll be providing finance, but all the revenue generated within that territory will be shared with the particular distribution advance whoever has provided the investor. Now, what are quasi-debt characteristics? Functions as a loans against future receivables. Distributor bears first loss risk on collections. Producers retain ownership of underlying IP. Repayment tied to actual revenue performance. Interest implicit in the advance to the interest is implicit. What is implicit? Which already included. Explicit is when you are paying it separately. Implicit is when you have already included it. So understand that functions as a loan against future receivables. जो भी आपका future receivables होगा उसमें से आपको payment करना है. You don't have to pay it before. The distributor, whoever is providing finance, bears the risk of loss on collections if the film does not performs well. So आपका वो जो revenue है वो किस पे depend करता है? On all the actual performance of the media project. Also, the producer retains all the ownership of underlying IP. Of course, because it is a source of debt financing, the all the owning rights will be with the producer or the creator. It will not be shared with any investors who are providing debt finance. This mechanism is particularly prevalent in regional cinemas market where distribution have established networks and deep market knowledge, allowing them to assess risk more accurately than institutional lenders. Institutional lenders or the big lenders may not know the ground reality or how small things work in those small regions. So that's the reason these kind of distributor advances or these kind of investors will have a greater or deep knowledge and understanding of which films will make more revenue or which kind of films will attract to the audience in that region. Next is risk of debt financing in media. Debt financing in film and media carries unique risk and that is distinct from traditional corporate lending, making lenders particularly cautious about exposure to this sector. Now, revenue volatility, box office performance is not unpredictable. So, even films with major stars and high production values can fail commercially, leaving debt obligations unmet and creating default scenarios. Now, default scenarios will only occur when there is like zero or minimum, very minimum revenue from a particular production or from a particular project. Otherwise, suppose if a debt in 100 debt investment is made and certain revenue is earned, वो पूरा उनको किसको repayment में डालना पड़ेगा? Debt repayment में. Even sometimes it may be such that the revenue earned is so less that the full debt repayment can also be not done. So the revenue volatility is one of the highest risk for the investors investing in debt. The next is delays in release, production delays, post-production challenges, or strategic postponements can push release dates significantly, affecting debt service schedule and increasing cumulative interest burdens. Now, this is from the point of view of investor producers. The producers who are having or raising funds via debt will have to pay interest as discussed earlier. So now if they are paying interest and there is any particular delay in release for whatsoever reason, might be due to certain obligations, might be due to certain legalities, whatever it is, but if they delay the production, what happens is the overburdening of the interest will be faced by the producer. The producer will have to pay extra for the time for which the film has been postponed. He'll have to pay extra interest, thus increasing the actual cost of the production. Regulatory and censorship risk. Now, certificate issues with the Central Board of Film Certification can require expensive cuts or modifications, delay release, or in extreme cases prevent distribution entirely. So Of course, you'll have to take a certificate of Board of Film certification. Can when I'm talking about this process, it can be an expensive cuts or modifications. These delays will just increase the cost. So your regulatory risk that is maybe suffered by the producer and not the investor. Legal disputes over IP, copyright claims, plagiarism, allegations, or contractual disputes with talent can create large injunctions that freezes, release, and block revenue streams, leaving lenders without resource. The lenders will suffer. Just understand, like films like Padmavat, which was majorly uh, uh, the people in Rajasthan didn't wanted the release in that release of that film, leading to postponement of those films. Now, the higher the postponement is, the higher the cost of production will increase for the producer, and in return, the investor will have more interest payment to be received. Also, when there are multiple investors in a particular project, for a single project, if multiple investors may or may not be investing, or at that during period, the equity investor and debt financer may have a conflict of interest on who is owning a particular trading right or the overall IP, who will be handling that. So it is important to have a clear view of what returns are expected from each of the investors. So there is debt financing and equity financing. Gap financing. Now, what is gap financing? Gap financing addresses the critical challenge of bridging the difference between a project's total production budget and the capital already committed from confirmed sources. Now, understand one thing: a film or a particular creation, if I'm talking about creating a studio, if I'm talking about creating a documentary, a short film, if it is a something in which the production budget is minimum or can be fulfilled by bank loans or equity or some one or two investors only, then it is okay. But what if it is a multi-starrer or good cost production film like 100 crores, or the films like RRR, where they say the cost of production is very high, where multiple stars are there, so the payment of the stars and then marketing and everything will increase the cost. So those multi-starrer big films may not be able to fulfill all their financial or financing requirement from one certain uh, investor. They may either go for venture capitaling, they can also go for private lenders, they can also go for debt financing. So instead of sticking to one, they may uh, go for multiple investments to be raised in one single project. Suppose they have taken certain percentage of equity financing and certain percentage of debt financing, but even after that they are not able to meet their production budget, they are still lacking somewhere. So to fill that gap between the production budget and the funds they were able to generate from other sources, the gap between that two is no is nothing but gap financing. To fulfill the gap between these two sides, the production budget and the capital already raised, to fill that these two gaps, what has done gap financing is done. Now gap financing is nothing but a technique or a concept. Understand more like this, it is not a, it is a concept. What does gap financing means? It is like uh, it is the critical challenge of bridging the difference between two components, that is your production budget and the capital which has already been raised. Suppose the production budget was 80 lakhs and you have been able to raise 60 lakhs. So you are lacking 20 lakhs, and this lacking will only be possible and this lacking will only be possible if and if they have tried all other sources and still not be able to meet it. So now they'll be depending on this gap financing as a concept to bridge the gap or to complete these gap. Now, gap financing fills the space between total production budget and confirmed funding, enabling projects to proceed when nearly but not fully capitalized. मतलब they are nearly capitalized but not fully. हो सकता है 10%, 5% of the capital or the production budget is yet left to be confirmed. Now, when I'm talking about these gap financing, the production is not yet started because of the gap which is existing, so there is a high demand. Since the need is high, the investors providing these kind of fund will always charge high interest rate. Next, priority recoupment. The gap financiers demand first position recovery after their senior debt. मतलब after the debt is being paid off, they are demanding कि हमको first priority basis पे repayment चाहिए. The next is secured against unsold rights. Collateral includes territories, platforms or rights not yet pre-sold. जो पहले से pre-sold नहीं किया होगा, so they demand with any unsold rights. हो सकता है काफी कुछ तो उन्होंने ऑलरेडी बाकी फाइनेंसर्स के साथ, बाकी इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ क्या किया होगा, ऑलरेडी ट्रेड किया होगा. But if there is something unsold, if there is something unsold which is left, they can demand for those rights while providing this gap financing. Now, gap financiers may be private investors, they may be a debt, usually over here, they may be a debt investor who will be ready, HNIs who might be ready to fill those gap other than those production houses or the bank loans which were taken. So, these gap financer investors are very important because until and unless this gap is filled, the production process will not occur smoothly. There may always be disturbance because of the no proper inflow of cash or capital management. The next is how it is dependent on Indian context and usage. The gap financing is deployed strategically when satellite or OTT deals are in advanced negotiation but not yet closed. Final cost attachment is pending and which will increase project valuation. International sales are anticipated but requires completed content. So international sales is possible, but if the content is not completed because of the certain lack of capital, so in that case gap financing can be used. Final cost attachment is pending which will increase the project valuation. Suppose the use of the fund over here is for paying the cost or a very good cost which might demand more, usko fulfill karne ke liye they may go for gap financing. Satellite or OTT deals are in advanced negotiations but not yet added. The negotiations has been working on, but because of the rights which they are demanding, they have hold on to the negotiations. So to sum up, gap financing is nothing but the financiers who are ready to fill the small gap which is existing between the production budget and the capital raised. To ensure this capital may be required to ensure smooth production run of all the activities when we are talking about working in media industry. Have you people understood what is gap financing? Okay, so it has already been an hour session. I'll be taking just 1 hour session every day. So I am winding off today's session for now. 2 or 3 more hours will be taken. I'll be taking two sessions approximately, and with that we'll be winding up unit 2. So you people may leave today's meeting. If there is any doubt, do write it in the chat box now. If not, then you people are free to leave the meeting. I'll end the meeting.